YouTube land, what's good with you? It's your boy B here, aka Brian, aka Prince Vegeta Wild and if you don't know me, I'm just a dude that likes anime. Today's episode of PBAT would be more so something that you would see on the podcast. We just gonna be talking. You know what I'm saying? This ain't gonna have the high definition edits and cuts and all that bullshit that you would see in the other PBAT. This one would be more so like whenever I do release that podcast, where I'm just kind of freestyling, I'm just talking and just speaking my mind. Now, there's definitely gonna be some edits and cuts on this, but today we're gonna talk about Inuyasha and hopefully talk about the sequel a little bit. But I'm gonna try to talk about Inuyasha first and make sure that I get my good points and kind of give more detailed synopsis on characters and things of that nature. Basically, just give my opinion on characters and things of that nature. The crazy thing about Inuyasha is how toxic him and Kagome's relationship was. Like, 2025, that was a toxic ass relationship because, you know, Kagome was technically the side chick and she had an abusive relationship with Inuyasha, calling him the sit boy all the time. Like, she would let that sit boy fly. Like, that was crazy to me. It's like, I'd watch it back in the day, not thinking nothing of it. Now, me watching it, you know, as a 20-year-old in the 20s and watching it now, I'm like, wow, this was a really toxic relationship. Like, this is terrible. And I just thought that was funny that, you know, that was their whole relationship and their whole sheboing boing, right? But those two characters definitely drove the show for me. I actually like both characters. I'm not one of those people that don't like Kagome. I don't know why. But there's people out there in the universe that don't like her. I could kind of see why. Because, like, she would get so caught up in her feelings that she would literally leave feudal Japan. And it would be like, all right, well, now the story's going back to the real world. And the real world wouldn't really do too much. Like, every time that they would go back to the real world, like, her homegirls just wanted to know about her, which makes sense. The one boy actually liked her and would always want to try to kick it with her. Then her family would just be all nonchalant chilling and like nothing, like unless it was filler. And I didn't watch filler once I got to Hulu. Like, if you don't know, I think Inuyasha's first 2 seasons are on Netflix, and then I watched the first 2 seasons on Netflix, and then I carried over to Hulu, and then that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch what's not filler now. And yeah, they didn't really do too much in her modern day time, really. But Kagome as a character, she developed she blossomed, and she was actually useful too. Like, that's the one thing about Kagome. Like, it's not like she kind of just sat back. And she played a pivotal role, and everybody kind of needed her, though, because she was one of the few people that could actually see the Seikon jewel shards, and she was a priestess. So she could purify them, and she could do all these things with the jewels. So she was an important factor. And I definitely felt like you got to see that, especially towards the end of what she was able to do. Like, she went from, like, not being able to do nothing to, like, grabbing bow and arrows and just plucking all these demons and spirits, and she did a good job. She was a good character. I probably put Sango over her as far as females go, but at the same time, like, their story, like Inuyasha's stories are kind of weird too. Because I don't know if it was on TikTok. Where did I see that? I can't remember. If I remember where I saw this comparison, I would definitely give him a shout out or whatever. But they compared Inuyasha to Dragon Ball. And I'm not saying Dragon Ball Z, I'm not saying GT or Super. They compared it to regular Dragon Ball, and it was like without the tournament. And I feel like that's a very good accurate representation, because it was all about the Seikon jewel shards, almost to a fault, which kind of did not ruin the story. I'm not gonna say that, but it felt like the Naraku plot lasted a lot longer than it needed to. Personally, to me, reason being is because it was like there's so many opportunities they had to kill him, and it never really did. And it's, speaking of Naraku, let's go there for a second. Kagome, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Then we can go into Inuyasha. Naraku's plot was so weird because it's like he pretty much, like, I want to say just gave it to the Illuminati. He had somebody who Kikyo took care of, and then just put all these demons and all these things in his body. And then he overheard Kikyo that she was going to meet Inuyasha and for the Shake-on Jewel Shards, and he screwed both of them over, right? Like, I think that's pretty much how their story got. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I think that's pretty much how their story got started, right? It's weird how he was technically always the strongest. You know what I mean? And the reason I say that's weird because, like, he was the strongest demon, but he was always the, like, smart and logical demon too. Because some people would have Shake-on Jewel Shards, they'd only have like 1 or 2, right? But Naraku, I guess he was strong without them too, so there's that factor. But he would give it to other people to work for him and do his bidding for him. So it was like, if any of you guys literally just did that and followed that logic, you would probably get a lot further than you ended up getting in the first place. Or unless the only because it's like, if Kagome shot the arrow that shot that raven-like demon, and that's what, you know, broke the Shake-on Jewel Shards, right? I'm just beginning Inuyasha. If she shot it and broke it, and it was scattered all over feudal Japan, how the hell did Naraku always get it? You feel me? And like, this was like early Naraku. Like, early Naraku, I want to say barely even had anybody, because early Naraku had to go to Shisamaru to be like, yo, I need you to take out Inuyasha for me. Where, like, Endgame's Naraku and, like, you know, middle of Inuyasha, the show, like, that nigga had everybody. That nigga had a whole group. Like, he was birthing people. Like, he had twins and a baby, and like that. That's another reason Naraku was a weird character to me, because it was like, it literally seemed like every other episode he was creating something new to do something, and like this person, it was all from his body too. So that's what kind of threw me off, because it was like, if he could do all this stuff with his body, why don't he just make like a super body and like just keep it all there? Like, it was weird how he spread himself thin like that, and then like by him spreading himself thin like that, kind of, I want to say, in the theory, kept him weak, because everything started to think for themselves and started acting on their own free will, because everything was separated from Naraku. Like, you knew what time it was when they had the spider mark on their back, and they're like, oh yeah, this is a Naraku creation, and you smell like Naraku too. Like, this, I don't know. Like, I didn't mind him as a villain. I actually like early Naraku more than I like Endgame Naraku. I like his design though. Yeah, he had a cool design. The snake at the not the snake, but the spider at the end, and like them being inside him when they fought, kind of made sense, and it was like symbolic. And I guess that was like the best place to fight. Like, there's not another place for you to fight. You know what I mean? Like I said, he's not my favorite, but Naraku was definitely interesting. Now, let's talk about the boy Inuyasha, the MVP, the main protagonist of this character, this story. His dynamic with Kikyo was, I don't know what it was. Like, I also feel like Kikyo, just to go into her real quick, I felt like she did kind of last longer than I thought she did. What I didn't remember from watching it when I was younger to watching it now this year, I didn't know that Kikyo stayed alive as long as she did, and I didn't remember Kagome going back to her real time as much as she did. I thought it was like less than that, but it was like every other Inuyasha. That was like every Inuyasha fight she went home. Yeah, I feel like that kind of drove the narrative a little bit, and that kind of like altered his character. And also another thing, I don't remember him using the sword as much as he did, but I guess, you know, like I said, I watched it when I was younger, so I don't know how many episodes I really watched, you know. Yeah, Inuyasha was a cool design character. I thought I was gonna like his demon form a little bit more, but I didn't. I actually liked his human form more than his demon forms. Well, I think design wise, like his his demon form kind of looked kind of weird. Like it was like the teeth was all out, and like I don't know, it could have looked cool, but it kind of didn't. What else was I gotta say about Inuyasha? And I'm guessing that's why Shishamaru has that dog-like form, because he's a full demon, where Inuyasha's not. What was I gonna say? I had something. Oh, yeah. It seemed like as soon as he got the Tensaga, that man would let that thing fly, boy. Like if when in doubt, wind scar it out. Like it like Inuyasha was about no talking. Like I'm all about action. I got this wind scar. Hit his wind scar. Y'all gonna get hit with this wind scar. Somebody said wind scar. Like, bro, that was his character for like majority of the show. And you're like, dang, bro, like you ain't learned nothing. And I guess I'm also tying in final act too. And that's what kind of drove me nuts, is because when we got to final act, like he started getting Ultimate Barrage and the red barrier breaker, or what Tensaga would turn red. And then he got the that last move that Shishamaru had, where he could pretty much open up portals and things of nature. Like he got cool in final act, but it took final act for him to get cool, and like him to do all these different abilities, so that way he just didn't pull up with wind scar. And that's why I was like, man, that's the only thing that kind of threw me off, because it was like, I wish they would have did more early on, so that way when you get to this point in the final act, you could truly appreciate it, because it's like, dang, he's really came a long way, where it seemed like literally final act was everybody just getting power up for the final fight. And but also another reason why I say that too is, like, think about it from a standpoint of an Inuyasha fan. Say, had I not watched this in 2020, where I could watch everything at once, imagine watching it to, I think it's either 04 to 06, in that time span, where like it was like episode 165, where they kind of gave that vague ending of like, yeah, wherever Narako is, we'll go, ha ha ha. Like that was like the ending, and then it took 4 years, and then I think it is 06, because I think it was 2010 when they finally concluded. Yeah. And then so it was like I had to wait 4 years for him to get a power up finally, and for him to do different things. And that's why I was like, man, like Inuyasha's a cool character. Like I wanted him to do more. And like he even says, like in his final like exposition about Kagome, that like she kind of brought the best out of him, and like he started to trust people and started to like interact with people more and things of that nature, which was cool. But he was still kind of like the same like standoffish asshole character. So I'm curious to see, not to talk about the sequel, but like what will Inuyasha be in the sequel. Hopefully we do get to see it. Next character I want to talk about is probably baby girl Sango. Her character and her development was interesting, to say the least. I think her story with Kohaku was kind of like Kohaku running away so that he wouldn't kind of be a burden to his sister and things of the nature was weird, in the sense of like, bro, like, y'all got Inuyasha, y'all got Kagome. First of all, she's like one of the few people that could ever see. Her and Kikyo were like the two people that could see the Seikon Jewel Shards that purify him and do all this stuff to him. So it's like you didn't trust her off that instinct alone. Second of all, they got your sister. Third of all, they got a monk who can do a wind tunnel. Fourth of all, they got Inuyasha. Like, they have all these strong people that it didn't take you to like halfway of final act to come over and be like, you know what, I'm gonna trust them. And then you didn't even trust them. You end up going with Shishamaru, who was basically with Lord Jerkin? I don't even remember. Jerk Chicken? I don't remember his name. I know I could spell it, but I don't remember how to say it. But y'all know who I'm talking about. And Rin, like, that unit wasn't as strong as the other unit. I'd argue about that. Because it's like, even if you have Shishamaru stronger than Inuyasha, I mean, Kagome's still there, Sango's still there, Moroku's still there, even Shippo, like, that's Kilala, like, that's still a strong team. And so that's what I thought was weird, is like him just basically run away and Sango chasing him, and then Sango falling in love with Moroku. I thought that was a cool story. I ship it, I support it. And also, like, what I thought was weird too is Moroku would be like going to these villages, and these villages, like him and her plot was pretty much, oh yeah, like Moroku said he gon' let me bear his children, and I got like 3 of them. And then like Sango would be like, oh, you said that? And then she gets sad, and they would slander the hell out of, like, they would feel bad for Sango, and everybody would understand Sango's pain, and everybody would look at like Moroku like, oh, you dog, you. But then they would like, oh, you dog, ha ha ha. Like, but like when Inuyasha would be upset over Kikyo or follow Kikyo, they would get so upset. I never understood that. Like, you know, Kikyo and Inuyasha dated and kissed and like probably was gonna have a relationship and children, but they didn't ever have the chance. Where Moroku, I was like combining the names, I don't know why. Moroku would literally go to these places and tell these women like, yeah, y'all about to have like 4 of my kids, this, that, and the third, woo. And everybody would just be like, Moroku, like what? They just like bad, like, oh. But y'all over here slandering Inuyasha. But yeah, I mean, like Sango was tough, and it's just weird that was pretty much her whole plot, was chasing her brother and then being upset of Moroku, because like she lost a lot when you think about it. She had Kilala, but she lost her dad, she lost her village. There's not the demon slayers, and I think even that one episode, I don't know if it was filler or not, but where the 2 girls kind of came in our village, and she was gonna train them for a little bit, and like she trained them for a little bit, and I think they like stole off some loot or something like that for their village, but then they ended up getting caught or something along those lines. Like, I don't know, I could just kind of wish Sango had more. Like I said, when like Naraku's the main plot of the story, there's only so much you can kind of do. But yeah, I'm a Sango fan. Like me some Sango. Hopefully we do get to see her in the sequel. And then Moroku, to talk about him for a second. Moroku, I actually like him. Like, there was no characters in Inuyasha I didn't like, which is, you know, a bonus point, a good sign. It's a great quality of life to have, as far as animes go. There wasn't a character like, oh, I'll get this character off my screen. Maybe if I had to pick one, got to my head, Koga. But even then, I didn't mind him. But I said if I had to pick one, I thought it was weird that he got that little like Wolverine extension ability, but that was only on one hand. I think it would look cool. It would look more dope on both hands, and like if you could actually see it. But T strong. Moroku, fam, like he could seal. You know, he could steal stuff, he could do barriers, that was cool, but his main tool of asset was the wind tunnel, right? What pissed me off about the goddamn wind tunnel is, like, I know Moroku's best thing is the wind tunnel. He knows it's the best thing. Naraku knows it's the best thing. Naraku would have these insects filled with poison that would mess up the wind tunnel, so he couldn't do the wind tunnel. And it was like, that was it. Like, I mean, granted, it's a curse that Naraku gave you, so I understand that you can't, like, you can only do so much with it, but, like, we never developed anything for that curse at all. Kikyo's sister could make all these medicines and this and that. She couldn't think of nothing, like nothing at all. Like, we couldn't put nothing in the air to where they're not as poisonous when they come in or something. Like, because it was like, oh, we heard Naraku's in this village and he's terrorizing the people. The whole gang, but all right, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Sango out here throwing a boomerang. I forgot what the name is. I mean, I know the name, but I don't know how to pronounce that shit. You know what I'm saying? Inuyasha should be doing wind scar. You know, Kagome maybe shooting her bow. Moroku come up, pull the beads off his hand. Wind tunnel. Oh, never mind. Haha, just playing. Because they got insects that could kill me. Bro. And like, that was like... What's crazy about that is like Inuyasha is probably like 200 episodes, right? Roughly around 200 episodes. Granted, there's some filler in there, but you know, it's about 200 episodes. Let's just, for the sake of numbers, 200. I'm talking Moroku joined the squad episode 16. Nigga, how he joined the squad episode 16 and you mean to tell me we ain't thinking nothing? Like, I would say it was like at least episode 50 when they started bringing in the insects. Like, wait, nothing. No counter, no nothing to that. I'm like, bro. Because it, honestly, you know what his counter was? Now that I think about it, Moroku's counter was basically like, hey, fam. Like, I'ma just do it anyway. Just take the pain. That was his counter. Until he met old dude that fixed Sango's boomerang. And he basically drank the poison to where he couldn't feel pain. That was basically his counter. And yeah, Moroku was a cool character. I like him. I like him a lot. I like the feng shui that the team has. Like, I like that team a lot. And that was funny. That one episode where I think you know how he'll like feel good bad for Sango at the early stages and like, you know, be in her ear, tell her some good things she wants to hear, like re-up her motivation and things of that nature. Then he touched her butt or something like that. It kind of killed the moment. Yo, they had an episode where Sango was doing that to him, like making him feel better or whatever, and then she started touching his butt. That was kind of funny. And Inuyasha's humor is pretty good, and I do like that. Their humor is pretty good. I'm gonna talk about Shippo. I'll talk about Shippo later for the sequel. Kilala, I like her. I don't even like cats like that, but I would love a pet Kilala. That'd be cool. Shisamaru, I didn't really like his character until he got Ren, and then he started growing on me a little bit. Like I guess he had more personality in the manga from what I watched like a top 10 facts video about him, and I guess he had more personality in the manga. Like in the manga, he would like do a smirk, and he would often imitate and like mimic his opponents. So I don't know why they just kind of went with the dark aura and like I'm not saying nothing and I'm not telling y'all nothing type personality that he had. But he cared a lot because obviously he watched over Kohaku for a little bit, protect Ren at all costs. And I'm gonna talk about Ren when I talk about the sequel. And then yeah, that pretty much was Shisamaru. And his the fact that he got his arm back was cool, and he got a new weapon, and that new weapon was kind of beastly. Like that new weapon was definitely the MVP in that final arc. I want to say act, but then I like art. I don't know. Is there anything else I want to mention about the characters before I talk about the sequel? No, not really. I feel like I talked a lot too. That's the one thing about these discussions is like I might not cover everything, but like fam, y'all, like when y'all see these discussions, like yeah, I might edit out a yawn or two, but this is me talking straight through. And this is off the dome, so I'm like freestyling. So leave a like on the video if you're enjoying it. But let's talk about the sequel. Now the sequel scares me because it says that it's set decades after the conclusion of the original series following the daughters of Inuyasha and his half-brother Shisamaru. Shisamaru now has two half-demon twins, Toa and Setsuna, who got separated from each other at a young age. When the two are reunited, a lot has changed. Setsuna lost all her memories of her sister Toa, and the two team up with Mohara, the daughter of Inuyasha and Kagome, and these three demon female warriors travel between worlds to learn about who they are and where they come from. Now, I actually just read that out loud. Did a lot better reading that on this episode than I did the June Tensei. But what I don't understand is it says in between worlds. So does that mean that we're gonna be in Kagome's world? And my biggest fear is like, are we gonna see Kagome like Kikyo's sister? It's Kaede, I think is her name. But are we gonna see it like that? Like, cause like Avatar, right? What's funny too is like I remember watching I remember Avatar commercials. This is how old I am. I remember Avatar commercials about when it was about to come out. Like it wasn't even out yet, but I remember the commercials for it, and I remember it premiered on Saturday. I'm scared because Legend of Korra, or whatever her name is, the sequel to Avatar, Aang was like old, and like he died of old age type shit. You know what I mean? Like, are we gonna get that with this? I don't want that. Like, I don't want that. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. Like I want to see Inuyasha and Kagome and Sango and Roku I want to see those characters, and the reason this is another one I know I'm leaving out, but I'm leaving it out on purpose because I'm gonna talk about them later. But I want to see those characters. They don't even have to be. They could be like a Kaede. They could be like a Koga. Like they don't have to be a role where they're always in the episode, but they could, as long as they're there and they're doing cool stuff. Because it's like I want to see what Inuyasha, what he could do now. I want to see what Kagome, what she could do now. Because it says decades, and obviously a decade is 10 years. So does that mean 20, 30, 40? Like how high are we gonna go? And I don't know if this series is like out as a manga yet, because I would definitely read it, especially in preparation, since this stuff is supposed to come out in the fall. But I would read it, but I don't know if it's out. And yeah, that's what scares me. It's like, are we gonna go in between both worlds? Is this going to be how far ahead? Because I don't want to see my characters old and not doing nothing. I want to see them actually be able to do something. Because I could tell you, I also want to see the young people of Inuyasha in this, and I want to see them have predominant like main roles. I want to see Koaku. Like Koaku probably will be that dude. I want to see Ren. I want to see Shippo. Shippo probably could be a full-fledged fox demon. Like I want to see what that's like, what that's talking for. Like, is it gonna look anything like Shisamaru's? Obviously, Shisamaru's a dog, when Shippo's a fox. But is it gonna be cool like that? It's gonna be powerful. He could look cool. Like he could be that dude. You know what I'm saying? And also, real quick, to go on a side tangent, but this is important. If Shisamaru has twins that are half demons, and he hated humans his whole time in Inuyasha, the only human I could think of is Ren, that he would know. And I swear for God, if you're one of those nasty people that ship Ren and Shisamaru like he was preparing her like a rotisserie chicken, get some help. Get some help. No. That ain't it, Chief. That is not it. I don't want that. No sir. I want Ren to be cool and badass as a character, this, that, and the third, but I don't want her to be prepped like a rotisserie chicken. Like I don't. I'm sorry. Nah, that ain't it. That is not it. I don't. Cause like, if you mean to tell me like Shippo's a full-fledged fox demon, Kwaku's this demon slayer, who else? Kind of. Ren is just getting prepped to have two twins. What the fuck? What's the fuck? Like, nah, that ain't it. That is not it. I don't want to see that at all. Damn, where else was I going with this? Yeah, so I'm just curious to see what the story's gonna be, and I hope that speaking of Dragon Ball, like to go back to that comparison, I would love to see a tournament in this new Inuyasha sequel. Like that'd be cool, seeing what everybody could do, seeing things of that nature. And I hope there's not one big bad guy. I hope, if anything, I think what they should do, here's a plot idea, is like a band of 7. I'm not saying like the band of 7 was the greatest thing to happen in Inuyasha, but I think that concept was fine. Having a group that like kind of runs over everything in feudal Japan and trying to be like the leaders or whatever have you, and that group get clapped up by the sisters. I guess they're all sisters, so I'm just say sisters as a group. As the sisters, as the kids, as the daughters. Like I would love to see that, like a band of 7 S type group, and like that's who the big bad protagonist is, and our antagonist is, and that's who our protagonists go and try to beat up. And I would love that. I think that's what they should do. And like I said, I don't know if there is manga material out, because like I don't know if they're gonna be freestyling it or anything of that nature. But if there is manga material and y'all know where I could read it, please, I want to read it. I want to know more about it. And Inuyasha was definitely one of my favorite things on Toonami growing up. And is there anything else I want to mention towards the end? Yeah, like, cause I would love to see maybe like Shippo and like I know his dad died, I believe. I don't know if his whole village died, but I would love to see more about his backstory and like him being that dude. Ren, I want to see her. I want to see if she's like that dudette. Like I want to see what she's doing. Hopefully not being prepped like a rotisserie chicken, because that's so weird on so many levels. So many levels. So I want to see Kohaku being that dude. You probably will see Kilala too. I'd be shocked if you don't. Well, I mean, it says decades, so I don't know, because it's like Inuyasha is a demon, so it's gonna make sense that he's not gonna I think he's 150 right now, 160 on Inuyasha end. So he could probably live till he's 200. And Shisamaru's older, so we don't even know how much older Shisamaru is. He could be super old. We don't know how, and he's a full-fledged demon, so I don't know how they're gonna age and things of that nature. But you know what I'm saying, I'm just ready for the new hotness and that new heat. I love you guys. I don't know when the next PBAT will be, but it might be over a samurai show. I don't know. I might go back, maybe talk about Avatar or Akame got killed. I don't know. We'll see. I love you guys. Till next time. Peace.